considering it was Halloween yesterday, I figured I'd do that and just give you a little scare. Hey guys, welcome to Seller Wednesday. My name is Jonathan Cabrera. I am your local realtor with Coldwell Banker. And this week, we're going to discuss why using a realtor may be in your benefit. This is Seller Wednesday. Last week we discussed the good, the bad, and the ugly about a for sale by owner, or FSBO. This week we're going to discuss the benefits of using a realtor and are you really saving any money by not using a realtor? I want to give you some reasons why using a realtor will be beneficial to you. Reason number one is that a realtor will help you navigate through all of the disclosure forms, all the paperwork that you're going to have to be signing, and things like that. I mean, let's take an example of buying a car. I know that buying a car is a lot cheaper than buying a house. However, when you go to a dealership and you go buy a car, be it a new car or a used car, what is one of the things that you want? The Carfax. You want to make sure that the car is in working perfect condition, there's nothing wrong with the car, that you are aware of any issues that has happened before that could potentially arise now, if the car was hit, if it was an accident, all that you want to know. Same thing applies with the house. When you are selling your house, the buyer wants to know the house facts. They want to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the house, and if so, what are the things, the defects of the house, if any, what renovations you've done, if any, if you've updated the windows, if you've updated the boiler system, if you've updated your furnace, the heating system, has it been cleaned, or did you have leaks in the house, or do you have a leak in the basement if you have a basement, things like that. The buyer wants to know that. So it's important for you, the seller, to have an agent, because an agent will have all those disclosures and be able to give it to the buyer's agent should they ask for it. And if you do it by yourself and you don't disclose certain information, when you go and sell the house on your own and the buyer comes back and says, hey, we didn't know that the house had this many issues, legally you can't just be like, oh well, it's your fault now, you own the home. So when you use an agent, the agent will then disclose that information to the buyer. Now, there's certain things that the listing agent, selling agent, may or may not be able to disclose, or can and cannot be able to disclose. It all depends on you, the seller, the homeowner, right? So there's certain information where you might say, hey, I don't feel comfortable letting the buyer know this information. Could we just withdraw from saying that? I'm not going to list what those are. However, it's a very small list of things that you could not, if you don't want to disclose it, you don't have to. Reason number two is experience. I know all realtors have experience, whether new or old. Some has more experience than others. However, you want an agent who's experienced. You want an agent who's knows the negotiation process, knows about pricing, knows how the market is doing. Doing it on your own, you don't have any experience on selling. Whether it's your first or your 100th home selling, well, if it's your 100th home selling on your own, then yeah, you probably do have some experience. However, if it's your first or second home, then the experience is completely different. Having someone in your corner who's experienced with selling houses, and realtors, that's pretty much what we do for a living. We buy and sell houses. So you want somebody who's experienced on your side to help you navigate through all of that. Through reason number one, the disclosure process, the pricing process, the negotiating process. You want somebody who knows that and how to handle that stuff, and to give you the best advice when it comes to the pricing, the negotiating, the disclosure parts. When you go closing, you want somebody on your side who's experienced. Reason number three is negotiating. Now, you may have some negotiating skills because of maybe what you do, or you've just been, negotiating things all your life. So why would you use an agent to negotiate? Well, maybe you're not a good negotiator. Maybe you're not a good person, have person to person communication. A realtor understands the market. They understand the pricing. They understand what homes are being sold for, what was recently sold, what's currently on the market, so they know how to negotiate based on price. For example, if your house is listed at 320,000, let's just say, right? Obviously, if you used an agent to do that, they obviously did the market analysis and they gave you what your house could potentially be worth. So 320, let's just assume, is what market value is. Now, if another agent comes over with the buyer and says, hey, we want to give you $250,000 for your house, what sense does that make? A good negotiating realtor will say, look, man, you are way below market value. You and I both know that price is way too low. You need to come up some more because, one, the house, may not be 100% updated, but we did this, that, and the third to the house. Compared to the house down the street that may not have that done, you have nothing no basis on why you're giving me a $250,000 offer. Come up some more. Go discuss with your agent and get back to me when you guys have a serious offer. This is why negotiating is an agent's job, not yours. Reason number 4. Reason number 4 is pricing. Now, again, if you're going to sell it on your own, what do you have to compare? How are you going to compare your house compared to other ones? What you're going to use? Zillow, that really doesn't have accurate data? The comparables, right, based on the MLS facts, the multiple listing service facts that we have access to, they'll give you the comparables in the area. And they'll tell you, hey, listen, based on the comparables, based on the updates, if any, or not, though this information taken into consideration will give you the best pricing strategy for your house. When it comes to pricing, a lot of different factors come into play. How quickly do you want to sell? Do you have some time to sell? Are you in a dying need to really move on to the next chapter of your life? Maybe you want to make a drastic move and go down to Florida or to California, Idaho, I don't know. Maybe you want to make a move like that and you just like, look, I just need to, I need to sell quickly, or I can wait and make the move and just wait until, the house sells. So those two things, either selling quickly or you have time to spare, determine really where you want to price it at. So for example, if you're in a dying need and you really have to sell the house quickly because something drastic has happened, or you just really want to, make this move, then if your house is valued at, let's just say, $400,000, then maybe we should list it at $380,000, $375,000, somewhere around there, because that'll attract those buyers in the $300,000 to $400,000 range who might want to, buy that house, who may not be able to afford the house at, $410,000, $415,000. It'll also attract the buyers that are at the $400,000 to $500,000 mark. Why? Because they're getting a bargain for that $400,000, $500,000 that they've been approved for, and if they have to update it, they can also get it at a slightly cheaper than the $400,000 that they want, thus driving the price up. So potentially you could get a little more for your money and also a quicker sale. If you're not in a rush to sell the house, then pricing it at what market value is. So let's just say the house, the market value is again at $400,000, $410,000, somewhere around there. Then sure, pricing it right at the market value at $410,000, $420,000, whatever the case may be, pricing it at that might be beneficial, because then now, you have some time to spare. Maybe it could sit there on the market for a little bit and you're not really in a rush, and you might get those $400,000, $500,000 buyers who, might be a little bit less than those, $300,000 to $400,000 range. So a realtor will help determine where that pricing should be. Reason number 5. Reason number 5 is the market condition. Now, this kind of goes along with reason number 4 in pricing. However, reason number 5 is as a realtor, we'll let you know what the market condition is. Whether or not you're in a buyer's market, a seller's market, a neutral's market, this is where we determine, or how we can determine, where your market is at this current state when you decide you want to list a house. Again, taking pricing into consideration, where the market is and your level of whether or not you can wait or not will determine what pretty much how quickly the sale is going to happen. And the market condition will help determine all of that as well, because if you're in a buyer's market, then whether you can wait or not, then pricing it might have to be a little bit less than what the market is, because there's more inventory in this market. In the buyer's market, there's more inventory, so buyers have a lot more to choose from. It doesn't have to primarily be yours. If you're in a seller's market, on the other hand, whether you're in whether you want to sell it fast or not, in a seller's market, also you might want to price it a little bit higher or just a slightly bit lower, because there's a lot less inventory and more buyers. So guys, listen. If you want to sell it on your own, that's a good thing. If you want to use a realtor, that's also a good thing. There's nothing good or bad about both, but about choosing either one. Here's one quick fact that I would like to give to you in terms of whether or not you want to sell on your own or sell with a realtor. The number one thing that I get a lot is, well, if I sell it on my own, I don't have to pay the commission, right? Most realtors' commission is somewhere between 4 and 6%. Right? If we're at 4 to 6% is what our commission is. The average for sale by owner, the average loss that they have when they go and sell their house, they usually lose about 6% of the market value. So if you're selling it on your own and you're going to sell it less than 6% of what your house is worth, and you use an agent that you're going to have to pay a commission to at 4 to 6%, aren't you kind of still balancing yourself out? Aren't you kind of still losing the same amount? No. Because when you sell on your own, you're losing about 6% of what the market is. If you use an agent, you could potentially sell the house for more than what your house is worth. Thus, 4 to 6% isn't really mattering to you, because you're kind of breaking even in that sense. So you're getting what your house is worth, right? And you're still able to pay off the agent his 4 or her 4 to 6%, because you potentially sell it for a little bit higher than what the market calls for. If you sell it on your own, then if you're selling it for less than 6% market value, so what'd you do? You end up losing money. Keep that in mind for the next time. My name is Jonathan Cabrera. I'm your local realtor with Coldwell Banker. This is Seller Wednesday, and I hope you have a good day. Enjoy this series. Take care.